Welcome back, everybody. This is the thejonnymar, and I am continuing with Final Fantasy II for the PSP. So we are standing outside of Tulum, and now we are actually inside the city. We got to the city in my last episode, and that is because we were able to secure the canoe, which allowed us to traverse the lake and actually get to a new part of the world. And basically what we can do in Tulum is we can actually get a ship over to Poft if we want. Now that is not essential. Poft is not someplace you have to go. And basically if you do decide to go there, which I will go there in a little bit, there's no reason to pay for the ship. You can just walk, and that is actually, as a pirate here, is making some moves on Maria. And I love her face there in the picture. She says, "No, not a chance," but she looks like she's kind of flattered, I guess, or something like that. But we're just going to be walking to Poft after we leave Tulum. And that is because we want to build up some experience and also some Jill, because there are a lot of items that we want to pick up in the very near future to prepare us for the next dungeon. Or I should say the first dungeon, right? We haven't been in a dungeon yet, but there is one upcoming. Now, both Tulum and Poft do not have really anything new for us to buy. There is one particular thing, and no, I don't think I'll settle down with you. We got Maria with us. She'll probably end up with me, right? Because I'm the main character, or Firian's the main character. But we want 3 bronze shields. I noted in the first episode of this series that shields are very important in this game, so we want to make sure that we are keeping our shields up to date with the best versions possible to keep our evasion very high. So they increase our evasion by about 5% over our bucklers. And then we can, of course, trade down and give Minwoo one of our leftover bucklers and sell the remainder. And that is about it for what we want to purchase in Tulum. Poft basically has exactly the same as Tulum. There is some new magic. There's the Blink spell, which will add increased evasion to your characters. And then the good old Protect and Shell spells, which increase your physical defense and magic defense respectively. But right now, we're not going to purchase those again. I have other items I want to buy with the Jill that we're going to be acquiring from our different battles that we're going to have on the way to Poft. So what we need to do is head around this big lake here. You'll notice there's a mountain range there that we have to dodge. And we will head over to Poft. And then once we get to Poft, we'll check that out. We'll talk to a new character there. And after that, we're actually going to head to another city before we head to where we need to go, which is Salim. So there will be, as you would expect, numerous random encounters on the trip over to Poft. If you do want to skip them, feel free to use the ship. I want them because I need as much money as I can possibly get. And this is a great opportunity also to be leveling up magic. So I have all of the basic elemental spells for Maria. And so as I am fighting these random encounters, I am of course leveling up my Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder spells. Because we want them basically as high in level as possible. So I managed to get Thunder and Blizzard. Well, Thunder's almost up to level 2. Blizzard's up to 2, and Fire is also at 2. Prioritize Fire and also Blizzard. They are your 2 most useful at this point in the game. Thunder will be useful in a little while when we actually get a ship and head out onto the water. So we're gonna head into the pub. There are a lot of the same types of characters here, and they tell you all of the exact same things, which is that the Empire in Bafsk is creating some sort of nasty thing or terrible invention. And Sid's underling here tells us that we can actually get a ride on his airship. Sid is, of course, a reoccurring character in the Final Fantasy series. This is his first appearance in the series, if you don't count the remakes of Final Fantasy 1. He's got a pretty sweet mustache, too, doesn't he? He doesn't have much to say, other than if you want to ride on his airship, you have to pay. and that the Empire's dreadnought is a piece of garbage, basically. Everything else he is clueless about, and that is it for Sid at this point in the game. Now remember where he is, because he will come back into play later in the game. But you can use his airship if you want. You can pay to go to different towns, and again, that will keep you from having to walk around and use random encounters. That's entirely up to you. There's not really any location that's worthwhile at this point. There are things like Salamand or Tulum or Poft, etc. You might as well just walk to those different locations, because basically we need the money at this point. Now everything is exactly the same in Poft as Tulum, so we have nothing to buy here, but I do want to head to another town which is nearby, and that is Bafsk, because Bafsk actually has quite a few new things for us to purchase, and it's actually going to be the first point in the game where I actually do a little bit of grinding. So Bafsk is not that far away. We want to ultimately head to Salamand up to the northwest, but first we're going to hook around the mountain range to the east and head to Bafsk. That is because there's brand new armor and weapons there, and there's some pretty good magic as well that we want to purchase. So we have to walk, of course. We could have taken the airship, but it's literally not that far away, so it's kind of silly to pay for the airship. And that is the dreadnought right there. We'll be coming back to that in the future, once we do a little bit more in the quest and advance the storyline a little bit. But this is Bafsk. Now what's interesting about Bafsk is that all of the citizens of the town are speechless. Maybe zombies, and that includes the soldiers as well. But that does not affect the merchants. You can purchase stuff from the merchants. I guess they wanted to keep their businesses open. Now what we want is the silver cuirass. And that is because that is pretty much the best armor that we can get at this point in the game. It does not affect your evasion like the other types of armor. And it also increases your defense significantly. Now there is a new javelin and also a new sword to purchase as well. All of those are 200 gold or Jill, so that will be, of course, a significant investment. And then there is a magic spell we want to purchase as well, which is Insunia, or Isunia, however you want to pronounce it. That is a spell that gets rid of permanent status effects. The higher in level that it is, it'll get rid of more different types of status effects. So we want one of those for Firion, and the rest of it we don't need. So I'm gonna head out into the plains area, I'm gonna grind a bit, and I'll meet you when I'm done. Alright, so I have grinded up some money for myself. I have purchased all of the items that I want for my various characters, and I also purchased some magic for Firion as well. It took about 15 minutes or so, not too bad. What you're looking for are groups of goblins or imps. They provide you with the most money for basically your buck. So each group gives you about 100 to 200 gold per encounter. So now that we've done that, we've stocked out our party members with some brand new equipment. We're gonna head to Salamand and ultimately to the Semitt Caves. So let's head over to the north and also to the west. Hopefully we won't have too many random encounters on the way. I'm certainly sick of fighting random encounters after grinding for about 15 minutes. Now, one of the nice things about this game is that even though you are going to gain statistics based on what you do in battle, you do every once in a while get a HP boost just for being in battle, whether you get attacked or not. And that is kind of your natural leveling. If you think about the other games in the Final Fantasy series, when you gain a level, the one thing you are sure to get a boost to is HP, and that happens in this game as well. So the first thing you'll notice about Salamand is that it is snowy, just outside the mountain areas, and that there is nothing but women and children here. And that is because the Empire has actually captured all of the men except our main character here. You know he's important because he has a portrait, and that is Joseph. So Joseph is an interesting character at this point in the game. You'll notice his kind of expressions when you ask him things. He blinks a lot and he shakes his head a lot, and that's because he doesn't trust you. So you really can't trust what he's saying. We need to basically prove to him that we are someone of note that he should trust. And so he wants us to do a little task for him. And as you might expect, that task is to save all of the people that have been kidnapped by the Empire. So he wants us to head to the Semitt Cave near the falls and save all of those people. And that'll be our first dungeon in the game. And we tell him the rebel's password and he's like, I don't believe you. So that's basically it. That's the reason to come to Salim. So now we know what to do. That's to head to Semitt Falls and head into the cave. And this is the lady who actually tells you basically what's going on. Joseph hinted at it. And we'll help them. And that is where the falls are, and that is to the south. So we need to head actually to the west first. We'll catch a river there, and then we will head down to the south and back to the east, and that'll take us to the cave. And this little kid had a dream last night. Maybe that'll be significant. Who knows? But now that we know where to go, we're going to head to the falls, to the cave. And that is the location we need to go to. So we'll head west, and then we'll hook around the mountain via the river, and that'll take us to the cave. Now there is a cave right there to the north. That is not important for us at this point in the game, so we're going to ignore that for now. And we're going to head on to Semitt Falls. Now, all of the enemy encounters basically in this area and actually in the cave for the most part are basically the same. So you're going to face a lot of imps, you're going to face a lot of what are called sprinters. They're kind of birdie type creatures. I'm going to save quickly here before we head into the falls. But there are some new encounters as well, and there's one particular encounter, and we're going to ignore this blue crystal for now. Again, that's not going to come into play until later. There's one particular encounter that I do want to talk about if I do run into those enemies. They're not super common, but we'll probably run into them at least once. And that is the balloon enemy, or the grenade enemy, or the bomb enemy from other Final Fantasy games. They're green in this particular area of the game, and as is the case in other Final Fantasies, they are very dangerous, as you might expect. So if you fight them, and if you don't kill them in a timely manner, they will actually explode and do a lot of damage to one of your party members. Most of the paths in the cave for the first few floors are kind of in a plus shape. So you're going to have kind of paths going to the north, the east, the west, and the south. There are a few items to pick up on each floor, so I will show you the location of those items. And I will also, of course, show you how to get through each of the floors so that we can progress. Now up here, we're going to have a series of doors. In this game, one thing to keep in mind is that the correct door is usually the one on the left. If you go into any of the doors to the right of the left one, you'll go to a small room that has a very, very, very high encounter rate. So you'll probably get into 2 or 3 fights before you actually get out of the room. And basically what I've been doing is just using physical attacks so far. If you're playing a different version of the game, you might have to use magic. And if you are burning through Maria's magic very quickly, keep in mind that you can use the swap spell with Minwu. What you do is you target Maria with Minwu with that spell, and it'll actually move Minwu's excessive amount of MP to Maria, since Maria's spells are actually much more effective and useful to us at this point in the game than Minwu's. Now I'm going to try to save that as long as possible, because that's basically like an ether, or an ether, and again we want to go in the left door here. And hey, we found all the slaves. That wasn't too difficult, right? A couple floors. So if I can save that until the boss encounter, then I will. But in addition to all of the slaves in this room, we find, of course, Paul, who is the thief that we met in Altair. He actually came to this area to try to find the Mythril before us. And he encountered Nellie here, who is the daughter of Joseph. So Paul messed it up. He is the world's greatest thief, and he does remind us of that. But he was not able to actually find the Mythril. He was captured. And what's really funny about this is he's like, basically, hey, now that you've freed us, we can all go. And I'll take everyone with me. And it's like, what did we do? We just walked through the door. It's not like we found a key or anything like that. So they basically could have left at any time. I guess the logic maybe is we've cleared out the enemies by killing all of them. I don't know. But okay. So they're all safe. But we still need to find the Mythril. So we have a few more floors to go through. A couple more items to pick up. Mostly gold. But we do get a fire tome as well. That's not super helpful. We already have fire for Maria, so we don't need it. And hey, we fought the balloons. Here they are. So you want to kill these guys as quickly as possible, because again, they will explode if you give them a chance. So in general, what I do is I have Firion and Guy attack individual enemies by themselves. And then I have Maria and Minwoo attack the same enemy, so they can kind of team up on it. That is pretty much it. This is the last floor of the Semitt Caves. There's actually one particular chest we want to go to in the north area, and we do have to hook around from the west to get to it. And that is a very special tome that we can pick up in this chest. Before we open it, I'm going to move my characters to the back row. I'm going to leave Minwoo in the front row. And I'm also going to save after I cure everybody, because this is a chest that contains a monster in a box. So we get the teleport tome, but we also have to take on an enemy. And that enemy is the land turtle. So why did we move all the characters to the back row? Basically because now the enemy can only attack Minwoo, so we don't have to worry about our weaker characters. So because Minwoo is in the front row, we're going to use Blink on him. That'll make him much higher in evasion. And then we'll use our Blizzard spell to hopefully take out the land turtle quickly. Well, that was pretty quick, right? One hit. So that's why you want the Blizzard spell. There aren't a ton of enemies in the game that are weak to ice magic, but that is one of them, so it's useful to have it. So the teleport tome we're going to teach to Firion, and that is going to allow us to exit the dungeon when we get to the end, because we don't have any kind of quick routes to get out of the dungeon. This is not Skyrim, where seemingly every dungeon you go into has some sort of shortcut to take you out. Oh no, if you don't have the teleport spell, you have to backtrack through the entire dungeon to get out. So what door do we go through? The left one, of course. And here is the boss of the dungeon. So again, I'm going to move all my characters to the back row except Minwoo to prevent them from being attacked. I saved, and now we're going to take on this soldier of the Empire. Oh, burn my Mythril blade straight through your heart. And we get some pretty awesome music, too. So, even though we're in the back row, what I'm going to do is attack with both Guy and Firion for now. We're going to use our fire magic with Maria. And then, because Minwoo is in the front row, he's the only one that is susceptible to physical attacks. So we want to buff him with evasion and also with defense. Now it's going to take quite a while to actually whittle down this sergeant's HP. He has quite a bit. I think he has around 600 or so, you know, give or take. So, you know, it's going to take a few spells to do that. And each time we use our fire spell, it's going to take up 3 MP. So if necessary, we're going to have to use the swap spell with Minwoo to give Maria extra kind of oomph so she can keep casting fire. Because our physical attacks are really not going to do anything. Sergeants have very high defense. Now as you see, ow, the sergeant can also use a bow attack, and of course bow and arrows can attack the back row, so they can attack anybody. And for some reason he's going after Maria, maybe because she's doing the most damage to him. So now I am basically out of MP, so what I need to do is use the swap spell to give Maria more MP, because she is our major damage dealer. So pretty cool spell effect. Of course that takes Minwoo down to her HP, and also prevents him from using healing spells for the rest of the battle. But at this point, he's almost dead, so it should just take a few more spells and we should kill him. And if Minwoo dies, it's not a big deal. He really isn't someone I'm concerned about leveling up at this point. Come on, stop attacking Maria, you jerk. Maybe this will be enough. We'll see. Come on now. Kill him off. Yes. So that is it for the first boss. And of course we will get some level stuff because he's pretty high level. So our stats will go up. And why did we do all that? Why did we fight this guy? Well, that is because behind him is the Mythril that we need to return to Hilda. So we are going to grab it out of the chest. I'm going to use the teleport spell to get out of here. And in my next episode, we'll head back to Salim to check in with Joseph. And then we'll be heading all the way back to Altair to give the Mythril to Lady Hilda. So as always, viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I will see you all next time as we continue onward with the main storyline. And one last thing, you'll notice when you use teleport, it actually reduces the HP of the character who casts it. So make sure that you're careful and heal the character before you progress. So long!